Hi everyone, welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. We've got a preview for you. Chelsea return to Conference League action as we take on Copenhagen away from home in the first leg, so should be a good one and probably our toughest opposition in the Conference League yet. But Charlie and I are here today to preview the game, offer some score predictions, what we can expect and what might happen. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Charlie, how are you doing, mate? How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a little bit of a while since we've played. It was kind of nice to have the weekend off, but it's got a little bit boring now. There's not really been too much going on. So yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into this fiction. Obviously, yeah, the rest we've got before the international break. It should be a good one. It's not going to be easy. It will be our toughest test. And yeah, Maresca's got quite a few decisions to make.
Yeah, for sure. But of course, we're used to seeing a lot of rotation in these kind of what we called as midweek fixtures, and a lot of the players that we kind of loaned out were sort of our B team players, if I can call them that. We don't have those options anymore. So, how much rotation do you actually think we will see for this game? Because, of course, we know that we are a little bit injury ridden as well, so that will come into play. And it is a round of 16 game after all. So, Maresca will be taking this one seriously, right?
Yeah, I think you have to now. I mean, obviously, yeah, we're still the strongest team in the competition quite comfortably, but when you get to the knockout rounds, the level of opposition does go up, and you have to treat it accordingly. You've got to treat all opposition with respect. It's not an easy place to go. They beat Man United in the Champions League there last season. They gave Man City a pretty good go there as well. It'll be an intimidating atmosphere. They'll be bang up for it. But yeah, in terms of rotation, obviously, as you said, we let a lot of those Conference League players leave in January, coupled with the fact that there's no Jackson, no Guiu, no Madueke, they've got injuries. There's not that many changes we can make, and we have lost the advantage of being able to rest players and rotate players. Yes, Cole Palmer will be available for the first time in the Conference League this year because he's been added to the squad. Will Fernandes and Caicedo play? I don't know. Do we see Matisse Mugu maybe get his first start? Other than that, there's not much else. Maybe Reece James plays at right back. Maybe Tyreek George comes into the start for Madueke or Nkunku potentially. But other than that, I think it's too big a game for Shin Moeka to start up front. So there's really only 3-4 changes tops that we can actually make to this team.
Yeah, no, you're right. So not so much rotation anymore. We're not privileged with a B team and an A team, etc. So we'll probably see some more kind of regular starters, if you can call them that. But you said there that Copenhagen are a good side. They will definitely be our toughest side. Arguably and coincidentally, they had a topsy-turvy fixture against Heidenheim, who we'd say was our toughest fixture, I think, in the Conference League too. And, they were almost out and then they weren't. They came back very late on, and that game in itself was quite thrilling to watch. So they can absolutely turn it up when they want to. They're not a side that will go down without a fight. So I think they do have a bit of an edge that the first leg is at home. Are you worried that that could come into play? Atmospheres are a big thing in European football, and I think we have seen this, that especially these Conference League teams we've played, even the ones that came to Stamford Bridge, they are loud, they are rowdy, they're almost that 12th man on the pitch there. So when you look at it from that side of things, it definitely could be hostile. Is that something that you think we should be a little bit worried about?
I wouldn't say worried. Obviously, it's something to take into account. It's something that could prove to be a factor on the night potentially. But look, we've got 2 legs, so I'm not particularly worried. If this was a one-off game against Copenhagen tomorrow night in their place and you'd get a winner on the night, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned. But the fact that we can take them back to Stamford Bridge next week means that I'm not overly concerned by this. It doesn't mean that I'm thinking it's going to be easy or whatever. But as long as we're in the game, look, no one wants to lose, and it would be really poor if we lost. But if you lose by a goal, we're still banging the game. So I think the most important thing for us is, yes, we want to win, but the most important thing is make sure you're still in the tie come the second leg next week. So yeah, look, it will be difficult. They'll start fast. They'll come out with an intensity. The crowd will be bang up for it. We'll probably have to ride our luck a little bit at times. Probably have to soak up a lot of pressure, but we will get chances, and we have got the quality to damage this level of opposition. We've got to be real. They're probably the best team we've played. They still finished 18th or something in that Conference League
Well, they had
standings.
to play a playoffs, didn't they, to get
But
into the round of
yeah,
16?
exactly. So whilst they're probably the best team in Denmark, they're not amazing.
Mm. No, yeah, you're right. I think they've got a handful of decent players, though, that they're probably going to be relying on. That being said, do you think Maresca will start Cole Palmer in this one?
I think it's difficult, you know. I mean, ideally, you'd rather not. You'd rather just kind of keep him fresh for the Premier League games. But maybe when you're not in form, you've not scored for what 6, 7 games in all competitions. Maybe you just want to keep playing, and this could be a good opportunity for him to get a confidence boosting goal or get an assist or just put in an overall really good performance. Even if you play him for 60 minutes or you pre-agree that you're just going to play him for a half, I don't know if I'd start him, but I'd certainly want him to feature, you know, for at least 30 minutes. But if you start him, maybe play him 45, maybe play him 60. But for me, I'd maybe have him on the bench and use him for the last half hour or so if required.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess Cole Palmer's not really a player that strikes me as one that struggles with playing multiple fixtures. I think he's quite, quite good at playing long minutes. I mean, we've utilised him so much. He plays full 90s. To us, he's almost like, what's the word, invincible. Like, he doesn't get exhausted, doesn't get injured, God forbid, you know. But yeah, I agree with that. I would have liked to think that we maybe have the kind of structure to sort of field players that we won't necessarily maybe look to start again in the Premier League, but that's no longer the case because, as we already spoke about, those players are no longer Chelsea this year. They're out on loan for other games. But yeah, I think this will be an interesting one, though. Again, Copenhagen will be well up for it. They almost saw their kind of exit very much there, so they'll be well up for it. And I mean, how much better does it get than hosting Chelsea? That will definitely be boosting confidence there, at least make them well up for it. But what other changes do you think Maresca will make? Do you think we'll see a different back line? I mean, there's really not much we can do in terms of chopping and changing because, again, injuries. And do you really even want to experiment with changing the defence when it's not really been a source of solidity, really, that we've had in the team? Like, I think I'd much rather play a similar defensive line to one we do in the league just so they can get a little bit more chemistry. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, look, obviously the back line is never something you want to be constantly chopping and changing. Sometimes it can't be helped with injury, suspensions and whatnot, but generally speaking, you do want to try and have that continuity in that area of the pitch. Having said that, Reece James didn't play at all against Southampton. I'd be very, very surprised if he didn't start in this game. I would expect him to start in this game. Robert Sanchez will probably come in goal because it's a cup competition now. He's the number 2 goalkeeper, so he'll probably play in goal. I expect Correa to continue at left back, and then you've got decisions at centre back. Do you continue with Colwell and Tosin? Do you bring Chalobah back into the fold? I think he could well be available for this game. I'm sure, obviously, we'll find out in due course, but I think he could be available for this game. Do you bring him back in alongside Colwell? Do you rest Colwell? You know, really the only decisions for me are what centre back pairing you go with, because I think it's quite obvious that Reece James and Correa will be the fullbacks. I would have liked to have seen Acheampong play at right back in this game, but Reece needs minutes, and so I suspect he'll play. So that's probably, I think, the only real decisions is what the centre back pairing is going to be.
Yeah, no, I agree, absolutely. But I think I look at this first leg, I think Chelsea will win. I think we have to. And again, I don't want it to be a case where we leave a bigger job for the second leg and we have to invite pressure on players to, rise up at Stamford Bridge. Because again, we've got a really tough end to our Premier League campaign and it's one we really need to focus in on.
Also, sorry, just quickly, like we ideally want to try and get this game done in the first leg. The second leg is 3 days before we travel to the Emirates. So you don't really want to. I know I said, you get a second stab at it. You just want to make sure you're still in the tie.
It needs to be done.
Arsenal obviously won their first leg 7-1 against PSV, right? They can play whatever team they want to play in that second leg, which will be the midweek before we face them on the Sunday. And so we want to be in a position where we're able to rest as many players as we physically possibly can ahead of that game. You don't want to have to be playing a strong side and we still need to get a job done when you've got a big game 3 days afterwards against Arsenal. So, yeah, if we can ideally get this done in the first leg, that will be of massive benefit to us because Arsenal 100% are going to rest players.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I don't even want to think that far ahead to that game there. But I think Maresca, he's got I don't want to say a tough job because again, we're a team that we want to see ourselves in Champions League next year, and like we talk about resting players, but when it gets intense, these players are going to be playing a lot more. You're going to expect them to be in and out of competitions. We'll expect to be in domestic competitions still at this point in the season as well. So they have to get used to playing these fixtures, right? Playing midweek, playing at the weekend, and without much rotation. Because you don't get the luxury of playing an A team and a B team in the Champions League. You field your best players and you expect that they can handle 2 fixtures a week. Really, when you're at a top club, that should be an expectation. It should be something that's very much achievable. So it shouldn't be a case where like we have to really like rest players. But in terms of the midfield, before we kind of talk about the attack and how we might line up there, Enzo and Caicedo, obviously between them have had so many minutes. If anything, we've run them into the ground big time. Is this a game where you might start a Dewsbury Hall maybe potentially?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd probably go with the Dewsbury Hall in this game. I'd put Enzo on the bench. And for me personally, I would play Caicedo in this game because I wouldn't play him against Leicester because the guy, he's 1 booking away from a 2-game ban. And you don't want him getting a booking against Leicester, meaning he's out for the Arsenal game because that would be a huge blow. So I'd probably go with Dewsbury Hall and Caicedo in this game in the midfield. But again, I wouldn't, you never know. You could see Matissa Mugu start. But again, I don't know if this is, I don't want to say it's too big a game for him because if you're signing a 19-year-old, who you think's got good potential and good talent, if you think a Conference League game against Copenhagen's too big for him, it doesn't particularly bode that well for the type of player that you've signed. I would expect to see a Mugu feature in some aspects of this game. You signed him in January, you added him to the squad, so there's obviously a thought process that we want to use this guy in this competition at some point. So tomorrow would make sense potentially. But yeah, I'd probably go Caicedo and Dewsbury Hall. But again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Mugu.
Yeah, true. In that case, moving on forward, we already talked about Cole Palmer potentially making a start in this one. What would you do with our wingers? What would you do sort of like, how would you line us up front?
I'd continue with Pedro Neto down the middle.
Yeah.
I'd have Tyreek George probably on the right-hand side. And then I'd play Jadon Sancho on the left. Or if you did start Palmer, you could play Palmer on the 10 and Kunku left, George right, and not use Sancho. But yeah, I'd probably go Sancho on the left, George on the right, and then Neto down the middle. I think this game's too much for Shinwaheka to start. He played 5 minutes against the Star in the Conference League, and he had a few minutes at the end against Southampton. I don't think that quantifies you to go and start in a game of this caliber. Pedro Neto should continue for the middle. He's on confidence. He's got 3 GNA in his last 2 games playing down the middle. Let's keep playing him. And then look, this could be a chance for Sancho to rediscover some form. And Tyreek George has been impressive in the games that he's come on in recently, and he deserves an opportunity from the start.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if I've got my Maresca cap on, though, I'm thinking I've been starting Nkunku in Premier League games, and I'm looking at him potentially as a player that will be getting more minutes with Nkunku and with Jackson and Gu still out. Where his position is still kind of to work out, but he's been playing him in these Conference League games, so I just think that Nkunku is probably a play that we definitely do see in this team starting tomorrow. So it's just a case of where do you start him. But I would like to see Sancho because I think, again, Sancho needs to build up his confidence a little bit more, definitely from like a goal scoring aspect of it. I'd like to see him get some more goals, and he looks like a player who thrives off getting goals and assists, and his confidence kind of correlates with that. So yeah, definitely would like to see more from him. I like what we're doing with Neto. I think it works. We'll see it more in the league, and actually it could be more of a sort of secret weapon, I suppose, in the league for sure. So I guess you get to try it out. But before we round this one out, Charlie, shall we do some score predictions?
Yeah, go on then, let's do it. I think we'll concede because we never keep any clean sheets, really.
I was going to say the same.
I'm going to go for I'm going to go 2-1 win.
2-1 win? So nice and narrow then.
Yeah, I don't think it won't be. I don't think it will be a one-way game.
Do you reckon we score first, or do we come back in this game?
I don't really care as long as we win. So yeah, I'll go 2-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if we conceded first. Really wouldn't surprise me.
I'd say, yeah, that makes sense. I just want to edge just a little bit more. I'd like to say 3-1 Chelsea, but I hope that's not me being wrong. I guess I'm giving us a bit more confidence. But yeah, Copenhagen are a good side, and especially now that we're in this kind of knockout stage, well, obviously, yeah, we get 2 legs, but still, round of 16, they're not taking it for granted because, again, they were almost out and didn't make it to this stage. So certainly they'll be up for it. But guys, in the comments, let us know your score predictions. Is this going to be a straightforward game? Or will, in typical Chelsea fashion, will we make this trickier than need be? Let us know your thoughts. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV. Mine and Charlie's channels will also be in the description, so make sure you subscribe to us for more Chelsea content. Take care of yourselves, guys. Enjoy the game, and we will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.